Good evening, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. It is now 6:33 and we have everybody here. So thank you for being patient with us. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order and we're going to start with our flag salute with Mr. Gerson.
Today from Barnes Butte, we've got three amazing leadership girls from fourth grade. We have Randy Ashcraft, Harper Herring, and Amari Thompson. Perfect.
Thank you. Okay. Right, Miss Tammy, please note we have all 5 board members with us tonight. Moving to 2.0, agenda additions, deletions, revisions, and agenda approval. Do we have anything? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'm sure I did approve the agenda.
I'll go ahead and second it. And so we have a motion to approve the agenda with a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's take a vote. I'm going to start down here. Kevin?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kelsey? Yes. Scott?
Yes.
And yes as well. Thank you. Okay, moving to recognitions. Dr. Hoff.
I'm gonna start off with our robotics club for recognition. So the advisor is Mr. Jason Monk. And then our 2 students we're gonna recognize is Adam Kraus and Craig Stewart. And I don't know if the robot has a name.
I want to call it Object 120.
Object 120. So hey, we're gonna move the robot just so our board can see it.
These guys are gonna drive it around.
We're gonna drive it around. So as Adam gets that set up, just to talk real quick on some of the accomplishments. Our robotics team and represented by Adam Kraus went to I believe it's the Connected First competition. There were I believe 24 teams. 8 teams got an award, and you can bet that Crook County is gonna come home with an award when we build something. So Adam and Craig can tell you a little bit about their robot. Adam, you want to start us off?
Yeah, okay. So when we went to the competition, we did a series of interviews with the judges to evaluate our different prowesses of our robot, how it works, how our team works, how we go through things. And through that we talked about how we connect with our community and how we engage with our peers. And apparently we were that impressive that we won the Connect Award, which celebrates teams who can connect with the community efficiently. So this is our robot. I need to step for other people. Heavy, hard to comes.
We like pictures.
So the point of they call it the game for this one was to pick up balls and then shoot them over the gate, over a wall. Over a wall into a containment. Those are the balls. And you score points based on how many you got in. And so you have to pick up the balls, get them in your cannon, and you have to shoot them over. So if Craig wants to
Stand up to feet. I've also, and I'm not sure they're gonna let you, but I heard a board member might be able to drive this if we have anyone interested.
So, a couple days ago on Friday at our CTE day, we actually had a different transmission type. We had treads on it and they broke a motor. And so we re-shambled it quickly back together with wheels. So you are still able to drive, but it does not like going one direction. So you can, if you want to turn, you have to go a whole circle. But yeah. All right. What are we shooting at?
I will catch them and you take it that way and shoot it towards me. I'll make sure that it doesn't hit.
Yeah.
Joel, move over. Yeah, right.
Well,
Oh, frick, I screwed up. Oh, no. Little maintenance. So, yeah, this robot has taken a long time to build because it's just been a little. Well, it's gone under, man, I can't speak. The theory of it has remained the same, the way it's picks up balls, launches them. I dropped one. From back here, there we go. But over the last 2 months, we've been able to perfect it almost, with the transmission being the one exception. But yeah, let's take over my hand. Get mine. Use that. I know.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Yeah.
What questions does the board have for our students and our amazing robotics advisor?
What would you see as a practical application for this thing?
Ooh. Oh boy, you would never have to stand up to get something from the fridge. That's it.
Love it.
So you have just the one robot? Do you have plans for a robotic team?
This is the robotic.
I'm just asking because I do know a
Yeah.
kid that's going to Worlds in Houston for this
Uh,
team, so.
Within years prior to this, we have had other robotic teams with groups of like 5 to 7-ish. And they have gone to different competitions. I don't know if we've gone to state. But we interact with other teams, so we usually do like across the area things. We also do some showing. We build other robots for like kids or adults to drive, really see the meat bones of robotics.
we've gone to competitions the last 4 years, so this is the first time we've ever won an award.
Nice.
So there's 24 teams at the competition in Hillsborough from a bunch of high schools, most of them in the Portland area, some middle school teams, and then we won one of the 8 awards, which is the Connect Award, which, as Adam said, connects our team to our community. Through some of the things that Craig was talking about, where we go down to the elementary schools and we do presentations. We've got the Family Robotics Night coming up this week, which we will present this competition robot at, as well as others. And then the 8th grade CTE day, all of those connecting with the community. Take these guys really bringing it down to the lower levels to kind of showcase what we have, so.
Are there specs that you have to adhere to at the competition
Yes.
weights and?
So the main one is you have to stay within 18 by 18 by 18 inch box. And so it really limits what you can do since these balls are so big. So, there's some finer details too, like what motors you can use, how powerful they can be. But that's really the main thing.
You're not allowed to shoot copies.
You do not have coffee beans in your robot, that is people they have. Okay, yeah. So there's a long list.
Another question for you. So in our high school schedule, by the time you take all your mandatories, there isn't much left for elective type credits. How did you manage to fit this in?
Well, I think we both are on the honors course, and so we managed to, for our freshman and sophomore years, we didn't have to take as many core classes. So we can slide this one in here, and take the robotics 3 course.
So you carried in credits from middle school.
Yeah. It's not as, it's pretty accessible for people, as long as, you're passing your classes. It's, not many core classes are 5th period, and so you can, if you plan it properly, it's pretty easy to get robotics classes. You have to complete robotics 1, 2, and go on to 3. But yeah, it's not that heavy.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Before we do the best part, we get to take a picture.
I did, Joel, I did think that we were focused as a board on bringing new and exciting stuff to this board, not Mr. Munwood's team wins another award.
I apologize. All right, great, there's enough of you. We'll stand next to Mr. Munn. Let's pick that robot up, you know? Actually, maybe Mr. Munn might, you want me to hold it? What you call it? Object 120?
Yes.
Okay, there's that. You guys want to scoot over? All right, let's give him another round of applause. Guys, that's not gonna shoot me in the middle of the meeting.
Wait, I want the controller.
Yeah.
When somebody talks too much.
Hey, next up, we're gonna recognize a couple staff members. I'm gonna have Daisy Acevedo and Ruby Ruiz come up. Let's give them a round of applause. One of our board goals that we've been talking about is making sure that we're supporting our Spanish speaking families. And that's where my dear friends, Ruby and Daisy come into play. Every month, we have a standing meeting and we talk about how we can better serve our Spanish speaking families. For example, this month, we're really focused on online registration, where ensuring that all of our families can access that, get registered, get the services they need. And that requires Daisy and Ruby to go above and beyond. They're going through with Linda Hutchins, our online registration trainer. They're learning it to the very granular details so that they can help their students and families. So when everyone comes in our schools, we want a smiling face. We want them to know they're welcome and supported. And these two ladies go above and beyond to make sure that happens. So let's give them a big round of applause. Any questions from our board for Daisy or Ruby?
I thought you were gonna do this in Spanish.
So, it's pretty bad, but I tried and I have a lot of fun with it. So, anything you guys would like to say about your role and how you enjoy it? Or don't enjoy it?
I'm just grateful that our families have a familiar face in the community to acquire in the community or at school. My kids are involved in sports, and so that kind of opens up a lot more opportunities to be exposed to the community. I'm very happy that we have that support for our families.
They're just awesome advocates. I remember one, I can't remember if we ran into an issue with our school menus not being properly translated. And they brought that to my attention right away. Apparently we were calling sloppy Joes dirty Josephs. Yeah. You take care of life.
No, the little dogs in a bun, the mini hot dogs. Translated to little dogs
In a bun.
Yeah, so it's little attention to detail they care about, so we're so grateful. So, Daisy,
Thank
get a
you.
quick picture. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, and then finally for our community, you might be noticing some red, and like, so I'm first gonna call, Randy up. This is Randy Winders, and, we've talked a lot about making sure every single student has a connection in our schools and beyond. So, and a lot of times we've recognized Mr. Mum and his basketball success, athletics, performing arts, but Randy started a group called Primeville Composite, or PComp for short. And it really is fitting a niche in our community and our students. It started 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, with 2 or 3 kids. And since then, it has grown to well over 20, I believe. And it's our mountain biking club. And it really fills a niche in our community. I'm gonna let Randy tell you more. He started it and has grown, and we have a number of students participating outside of the school day in this.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having us, and special thanks to Kelsey for leading this. Kelsey was one of our coaches last year, so thanks for doing that. And yeah, like Joel said, this will be our 5th season. We started out with 3 kids and me and another guy coaching, and then that ballooned every year. And we're now up to 15 certified and trained mountain bike coaches. This should be our first meeting last night. We're in preseason. So we actually participated in what's called NIPA, the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, and we raced with the Oregon Interscholastic Cycling League. And they travel all around the state, and we do 5 events during the year. We're fortunate that the director of that league has picked Prineville for the state championship for the last 5 years in a row. We're coming back again this year in October up at Barnesview, and some of you probably notice all the campers that come rolling in. I think, I don't know how many people, how many kids, 700, 500? There's like 750 registered for the league. Like 500 athletes come and race out again with all their campers, and it's just a blast. And I do believe that every kid that should be able to ride that wants to ride. And so that's why we started this thing. And with, if you don't mind.
I was gonna say,
so
let's
Rick,
call this.
yeah,
Let's
Rick
call
and I,
the team
well,
up.
first, I want to recognize Darlene Henderson was our coach for the last 3 years, our head coach. And then the best coach ever is my wife. Now, we brought a couple of our athletes too. Corbin, you want to come
I was
on up
gonna say,
here?
we can have all the students come up, say your name and favorite class.
So you guys introduce yourself.
Come on up.
Come on up,
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
And hey, let's
Roll
roll a
it,
round of
come on.
applause.
Over here, look, I'm-
All right, we'll start down on this end. Name and favorite class.
I'm Rowan, and my favorite class is ELA.
I'm Corbin. My favorite class is probably engineering.
I'm Willem, and my favorite class would probably be advanced marketing and advertising.
I'm Elijah, and my favorite class is rock climbing. I'm Josiah, and my favorite class right now is statistics.
Oh, that's good for you.
Oh,
My name is Colt, and my favorite is science.
What questions does the board have for Randy or our students?
Where else do you race at? Is it just Central Oregon? or-
no, we raced like in Newport,
Oh.
Falls, Rick Riel. So we kind of pick venues all over the state. It's been the same roughly, but we've also raced in Address. Bachelor. You know,
I think that's.
The director has to pick these venues that actually accommodate the growth of the league, and also like camping nearby for families. You know, try to reduce expenses and stuff, so she does a great job, and we're so happy she picks Prineville every year, so. Yeah,
And do you have vans that take you, or is it all parental
parents
parents
transport.
transport?
Jennifer and I take all the team equipment and some spare bikes, and then the parents have to transport the kids to the events.
We do have spare bikes. We currently have 9 loaner bikes, so if kids don't have bikes or can't afford them. We do have ways to help get them on bikes, which is a kind of aspect to other teams. So even young ones, we have some smaller bikes now in our fleet.
And this year we get to start including fifth graders. Every year up to now, it was, they had to be going into sixth grade, so now we're gonna get to start with fifth graders.
So pretty soon, a couple, Jan and we're hoping Rowan and maybe another coach are gonna go around to all the elementary schools and talk with all the fourth and fifth graders. Get them to join. And then every year I go out to all the rest of the schools and drop off flyers. There have been times where I've gone to the lunchroom at the high school, set up a cool looking bike and a helmet, and some kids come up and do that. But right now we're just doing we're just handing out flyers at those schools. So we're really hoping we get some fifth and sixth graders, so.
Do you guys have like a social media page?
Yes, we have our own webpage, we have a Prineville Composite Facebook page. And then I post everything I can think of on Prineville information, on your bulletin, through Parks and Rec, whatever we can get the information out, so. A couple just recognitions I want to do. First, Josiah, he is going to be our first alumni coach. I mean, he's graduating. So this summer, before he's joining the Marines, he's going to become our first alumni coach, to kind of graduate in the system and then help out, teach kids. He also won his league last year, his division, racing. And he also got recognized for the best sportsmanship out of the state, for kids. So that's a great thing to have on our team. We're pretty proud of that. And then Rowan, she's had the courage to be like the only girl on our team, and so we finally got Lana Haldu to join. So she jumped in and kept riding with all these guys, which is not easy to do. And it just shows a lot of grit, and she's had a lot of fun doing it. So I just wanted to recognize those two for some special stuff they did.
Proud of you. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Do you have any financial needs?
we have a lot of financial.
Quantify.
Fortunately, we've had some great business partners that helped sponsor the team the first 4 years. It costs roughly $30,000 a year to fully allocate and pay for all the coach registration and uniforms and kid registrations, all that. We've got a small portion of that to help families, and in some cases, sponsors have directly helped the coaches for expenses. But most of this is on the families. The coaches, the 15 coaches pay their own way. That's no small amount. And the families pay the registration. This year they're gonna buy the jerseys. And then if there was a state championship, they'd give that as well.
So if you had to ask for a chunk of money for one big thing, what would it be?
No pressure.
Hey, I know. Well, this year, the family's gonna have to pay for jerseys, and that costs $4,000 to $5,000 a year, depending on how many kids we have. That would be one big thing, but like, so we didn't have to ask the families to do that, but. Yeah, we have equipment needs, James Good Bike Co is our sponsor, and he actually donates all of his labor to take care of our spare bike fleet. And then we pay for the parts. We're also fiscally sponsored through Parks and Rec Foundation as a nonprofit. So people can donate into the nonprofit, and all that money comes out of that. It depends how many kids we have. We might need bike stands and bike tools and 4 spare bikes and whatnot. So it's hard to pick like that one big item, other than uniforms is probably the most expensive right now. Not counting these wonderful bikes these kids have to have. You know, so. The league also has scholarships for families that can't afford it. That they can apply for to help pay for their registration. And then we've always said, if somebody can't afford it, get a hold of me and we'll figure it out.
Are all the races a specific distance or are they very?
You want to answer that?
Generally, it's around like 12 miles, I believe.
Well, it's depends on your age. The little kids will do one mandatory lap, which is usually 3 to 4. And then as you get older, you do 2 mandatories, and then you finally do 3 or 4 mandatories. And then if you meet a time requirement, you get to make a bonus lap. And so these two in the state champs, they qualify for their bonus lap for the first time in the season. It was fun to watch.
When is your first event?
August,
29?
in Montreal, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
It's on the calendar.
I can
In
tell you.
August.
I can tell you.
And then we'll be in Prineville like October, the 3rd week of
And
October.
Madras and.
Like, I know Joel wants to keep this moving.
No, but there's a little picture. Let's get this picture.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right.
Squeeze in there for me. August 30 is our first race. There you go.
All right, let's give another round of applause.
You guys are welcome to stay or when they're always in or just.
Always
Thank
welcome to
you.
stay,
Absolutely.
always, however, not gonna sleep.
This meeting's really exciting. In this house.
No. I just feel like you have to go. Well, that cleared up the room. Okay. Okay, we are, thank you, Dr. Hoff, for all of that.
Always.
That was fun. Okay, 4.0 student feedback.
Let's invite our student representative, Sophie Fisher. So last Friday, as has become a tradition, Bree and I, as well as Mr. Upton joined us as well, went and talked with the CCHS leadership students and went through the board agenda. The main items, Sophie wasn't there, so she's gonna she still came to the board meeting. I mean, what sort of dedication does that show? So around the board agenda items, there was positive feedback around the week of graduation events that we'll discuss, particularly around the parade. Students seemed to really like the parade. In terms of the 26-27 proposed calendar, the students said they appreciated the balanced trimesters. The committee this year made sure that it was equal each trimester, and the students, as well as Mr. Ulrich, the leadership teacher, chimed in and really appreciated that. And then the agenda item on the long-range facilities planning, they first wanted to celebrate 2 months ago, they brought forward all these facilities concerns. Bathroom doors not locking, a few sinks leaking, and credit to Leland and his team, they have fixed there was a list of 10 things. The facilities team has fixed, I believe, all of those. The biggest thing was, I can confirm that all stalls at the high school have doors, which is a big deal. So that has been fixed. And then something really cool around the long range facilities plan. We have a student volunteer to help us moving forward as we're starting to plan different facilities things. So that way we'll have a student voice and a representative. So and then also, I went and talked to a Pioneer student as well. We've talked about the need for getting voices from all of our schools. So from our Pioneer student around board agenda items, there were no major concern or insights around the Pioneer facility. They thought it's actually really fantastic. When I asked about graduation, the student said they're just focused on earning credits to get back to the high school to make sure they're taking part in those graduation events next year. The student also said they really liked getting towards the board goals around supporting students. They said they really appreciate the access to resources like FAN and the ability to get services at Pioneer. And then they also talked about, as we talked about pathways, the student was really happy about potentially having an internship through Pioneer. So those were the feedback around the board agenda items. There were a couple other just, when you talk to 25 high schoolers, things come up. So some shout outs to Kirk County High School and Mr. Huffman. Spring sports are in full swing and students were really impressed with how high of turnout we have for spring sports. Really appreciate the social studies department, got some shout outs when we were there, as well as they're grateful for the academic supports that they're seeing at the high school. We reviewed a draft code of conduct with them that they actually approved and had some minor feedback around bullying and dress code. And then finally, we talked a lot about, we've tried to partner with the Kiwanis on potentially exploring whether we start a Key Club. We're not going to do that, but they do want to partner with the Kiwanis on maybe some service projects next year. So that was great. And then our Pioneer students shared that he was relatively new at Pioneer, but really valued the small supportive school setting, appreciated the flexibility in the schedule, suggested that we laminate the Jonas bucks, which are the dollar bills that they get for good behavior. He thought it'd be good if we laminated them. And then he said, so far, so good. It's a positive experience. So, Sophie, what am I missing for the student voice right now?
I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. There's not much going on there.
Any questions from the board on anything or for Sophie?
I just
Nothing
love
you
this
to
one.
say to us?
Hey, let's give it up for Sophie for showing up.
I love
This is
Sophie.
Thank you. I love this, that we have student voice. Why didn't we have this before? This is so refreshing to hear things, because they're there, they know things. Okay,
Reason why we did.
right? Moving to 5.0, approval of the consent agenda. We do have Miss Kelsey who needs to read a statement.
All right. Before we proceed with the consent agenda, as my spouse is a counselor at CCHS and is covered by the 2025 through 2027 Cascade Bargaining Council Collective Bargaining Agreement in accordance with ORS Chapter 244 and Policy BBFB, I have a potential conflict of interest and will be recusing myself from both the discussion and the vote on item 513. While a class exemption may apply, I'm choosing to recuse myself to avoid any appearance of a conflict of interest.
Thank you. Okay. So the approval of the consent agenda.
Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda and a second, third. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Scott,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
and yes as well. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to finance report. Ms. Young.
There is a finance report in your packet that takes a few minutes to fill and steps enough to get through, so we can set that. Actually, everything I'm gonna talk about is not in this packet. because I have a couple things to talk to you about. The packet itself is the regular finance report, and there really just aren't any updates. There's nothing major that's changed since I explained this last. But I did want to talk to you about a couple things. First thing is nutrition services. And as we've seen in the past, sometimes it's difficult for a nutrition services fund to come out in the positive. Sometimes it doesn't even break even. So I'm looking at this year and we're thinking it's probably not gonna break even this year. We're probably gonna need to move some money from the general fund to cover the nutrition services fund. Denny and Leland have done everything they can to squeeze out every bit of savings that we can. We will have, Denny is gonna be retiring, so we're gonna be hiring a new nutrition services supervisor. So we plan to have an overlap, so there'll be some extra salary cost that'll hit. And then also our general costs for labor are extremely high. Our wages that we pay our nutrition services staff are higher than market, which kind of happened during COVID when all of the food service in general wages went up and didn't necessarily stay up, but ours don't go down. So we have higher than market wages. And then you add PERS on top of that and the increases that have been happening with that. It's just not, we're not gonna be able to break even. So I just wanted to let you know ahead of time. So that that's not a surprise, like Kelsey's alone. And then the second thing, just an update on the budget preparation for next year. That's coming along. We now have a budget that's balanced and ready to go. I expect to post that budget and send it out to the budget committee on Tuesday or earlier. And then we have our budget committee meetings on April 28th and May 5th.
So on food service, I've lost track of where we're at. Are we doing universal feeding right now?
Yes, we are.
So when we raise these fees, who's gonna pay that?
Raise the fees for
Or
adult
school
meals.
lunch? Yeah, is that just for staff and visitors?
Yes.
It doesn't really affect kids and families.
That's exactly
Does it increase our reimbursement from the feds if we
No.
raise the price?
No, but it makes us compliant
Okay.
in order to get Fed reimbursement.
So this, where we're gonna hike this, I am concerned about families that are struggling right now, but they're not gonna feel that for the most part. I mean, staff then as well.
Staff can choose to have lunch at the school, and if they do, they're gonna pay a little bit higher. But if you can go anywhere else and get a lunch for $5.70. I'll be surprised.
Anybody? Okay.
Yep, so that's everything on the finance report.
6.2.
6.2 is an annual topic. The resolution that sets the school fees for the following year. And I did give you a revised handout just tonight, so make sure you have the one with the yellow sticker that says revised 6.2. There are 3 proposed changes for next year. The first is to add gate fees for athletic events and waive the fee for Cook County residents. That money raised would go into the athletic fund to pay for all sports like it always has before. This is something that we hear ever since the fee went away. We heard from our community and staff that everywhere else they go to watch a game with their kids, they have to pay, and they really want to see us raising revenue for our kids. So that's why I'm putting that in this proposal. The amount that we need in our athletic fund goes up every year, so that would help to pay for that. The second thing is for adult meals, as we just talked about. We always have to do a calculation to make sure that our adult meals meet a certain minimum that USDA sets for us. And so we're just gonna have to raise that next year to be compliant. And then the third thing is that I've had a request from the high school yearbook advisor to increase the cost of the yearbooks themselves. She said to me that she doesn't think we've ever raised the price since 2014 when she became the advisor, so I went back and I had records all the way back to 2013 and the prices had never gone up. And so this, gets us closer to being able to, it covers the cost of the yearbook and then gives them a couple of dollars per yearbook to pay for camera supplies and, you know, whatever else they need for their yearbook preparation. So that's the three proposed changes, and then we can discuss and let me know what you think.
So the yearbook at the middle school doesn't go up, just the high school.
Right, this would just be a high school increase.
So did you do the analysis of how much it costs to collect these fees versus what they'll likely generate?
No.
How would she do that?
We did it.
I mean, it would be an imaginary cost because it's staff that you're gonna pay wages to regardless of whether they're collecting fees or doing something else, but it's a productivity cost that I could analyze if you want me to.
I mean, how are you gonna know who a Crickner resident is? When they can flash a driver's license at the door?
Yeah, so currently, to answer your initial question, so currently we are paying people to stand at the gate and not collect fees, just as kind of a screening. We will use signage and we estimate a number of people that will lie, right? However, since joining the new league, we now have a significant amount of visitors just because now they're coming from Bend and not from, Estacada. So we do expect this to, in working with Rob, to raise a significant portion of funds that we can then give to our students.
Right, how much?
Thinking around, is it like 10,000 a season or so? That's probably 10 to 20,000 or so is the estimation.
Which you're rich.
You can buy a lot of basketballs and uniforms for $10,000 to $20,000. So we're gonna give it a shot. We do bring these fees to the boards annually, so we're happy we will be able to track this pretty closely. But yeah, we think it'll help Kirk County kids in athletics.
When you say season, you mean like that much for fall,
Fall,
this
winter, spring, yeah.
Do we have the same staff for volunteers? Previous discussion with the non-gym sports that are on the fields, the baseball, the soccer. Do we have staff that monitor those sports as well that are paid like they are for the basketball gym?
Typically now it's football, basketball and volleyball, and wrestling.
Because one of the things that I brought up was it would be good, I'm all for waiving fees for Crook County residents. But I do believe we have support in the community that may want to show it financially. So if you had your gate fee for the non-residents, but a donation option on the other side, you may get additional funds that way. I'm not expecting a giant amount, but if you're going little by little, every little bit helps.
Yeah, if we've got people sitting there taking admission fees, they're able to take any kind of donation. They can take credit cards, check, cash.
Venmo?
What's that?
Venmo?
No, we do credit cards instead of Venmo. But yeah.
Are you thinking like a separate?
Just something that, so they
Says
know
donations.
that they know that it's an option.
If
Yeah.
a resident wanted to go
Yeah.
ahead and pay the $20, put this towards it.
Yeah, pretty little QR code or something. I don't know.
Quick question, and that I read in the board packet that we had a recent visit around nutritional services and that just seemed exhausting. Who deals with all that?
It's
It just seemed the
Nutrition services.
Yeah, well, I mean, that just seemed like an enormous amount of red tape around some real minutia.
So yeah, Leland and Danny take on those OBE audits for the nutrition.
Jeez.
And I would affirm that yes, our dear friends at the ODE like to keep us busy with
Yeah.
those sort of tasks.
And really,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not ODE's fault that they are doing these audits. It's the USDA that requires ODE as the oversight agency to do what they call reviews. They're audits, but they don't like to call them audits. My sense is that when they say audit, the districts get really nervous. And so they like to call them reviews now, but it's basically an audit and,
Reviews with corrective actions,
yes.
right?
Look at you. That's right.
It's tough. I'm done.
That was all. Okay. Well. Do we have any more discussion on this?
Moving forward.
Yeah, if does somebody want to make a motion? Is there a motion to make?
Do you need us to approve this?
Yep, this is an action
Yeah,
item.
this is an action item.
We have to approve the increases.
It's a resolution, so it needs to be adopted.
Here's verbiage.
I move to approve resolution number 04 for 2025 to 2026.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to approve the resolution number 4 for 2026, and we have a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Scott,
No.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Did you vote?
hold
I
on.
think we should be doing this.
I haven't voted yet.
Oh, sorry.
I'm torn on this one. I'll vote yes. Okay, 6.2. And we're gonna move to 7.0 superintendent update with Mr. Huffman. Hello, Mr. Huffman.
Hello. Just gonna give you guys an update on the schedule for graduation. It hasn't changed much over the last several years. The baccalaureate has gained in popularity over the past few years, due in large part to contributions from our community. That's a completely community ran event, but the Teskey family and the McKinnon family and lots of staff members have contributed to that being a really popular event. And so lots of kids come to it. So that's Monday. Tuesday's our senior awards night. We've gotten more efficient with that as well. That's Tuesday. Board members, of course, encouraged to attend that. Wednesday, we're going to Canida for our senior trip. We at one point went to the Washington Family Ranch, but last year we went to Canida and was pretty well received by the students. And then Canida was really, really great to work with. So gonna go back there Wednesday. Thursday's a big day for the kids. So we have our senior breakfast. Last year we did it at the high school and Mrs. Van Rokel played a big part in that. She's excited to help us with that again. So we're gonna do the senior breakfast at the high school, rehearsal. And then of course, following the rehearsal, we have our tour of the elementary schools, which is many people's favorite. And again, you guys are invited to attend all that. The 5th, we have our COVID keeper, the graduation parade. So that's kind of tradition now. We're gonna keep the parade going. The route has changed. We did a modified route last year, and the police department and the city prefer that we do it that way because we don't cross 3rd Street, and there's a lot of what was the word? Minutia that has to do with getting across 3rd. So they really appreciate the shortened route, and it still gives everyone the experience that they want and get to see their kids in the rigs. So we're doing that again. And then of course you guys are welcome to attend that as well. And then I do have an action item, not a resolution, but just a decision you guys have to make for graduation. We've done it multiple different ways for how the board is involved in graduation. It could be one of you, all of you, you guys can be in a synchronized rhythm, however you want to do it, but how we want to, the diagram shows that where the school board has sat the past few years, but in terms of like handing out the diplomas and shaking of the hands, you guys will have to kind of decide, and really, we're open to whatever. We've gone all the way from, you know, the students shake every single board member's hand, my hand, Dr. Hoff's hand, Principal Jonas's hand, and then, you know,
All the hands.
so we've done there, we've gone to that extreme to the point to where like it's, you know, only if you have a graduating senior. You guys kind of decide. So it really, we can accommodate whatever it is you guys want to do, but the event at the fairgrounds has been pretty awesome the last few years. So
Are we running out of room up there?
we're definitely running out of room. You know, the possible options are, hey, let's sell tickets to the graduation, but I don't think that's inclusive enough. We've had it at the stadium and we've had like fights. So I think the fairgrounds is the most accommodating place. And it's really clean with the students being the centerpiece and not a bunch of people crowding in on them. So we've kind of landed on the fairgrounds, but in terms of like how you guys want to be involved.
Do we have anybody with a senior this year?
Not this year.
Have the students said what's important to them? Because it's just like,
In terms of what?
well, just like, I guess when I was a student, I didn't really care about the school board. And so I just.
I'm sure it's different now.
Well, thank you, my ego, thanks.
Yeah,
But I just want to
yeah.
be sensitive to like, it's their day and it's.
Yeah.
I don't have any need to be.
I don't want to speak for the students, but I don't know.
That school, that diploma is given by the board, not the superintendent.
Correct.
So that's why we have a representative
Yeah.
standing there, because if you put it out. The thing I saw a few years ago that I really liked was when the board members were all there sitting down below.
Yeah.
And then we just rotated in and out.
Yeah.
So there was one up there at a time. Everybody that wanted to come was up there at some point.
Mhm.
But we didn't necessarily have to have one person doing it all. We
Yeah.
didn't have to spread the burden out. That worked really, really well. And since none of you have ever done that before, you should probably experience it at least once.
It's amazing.
We could definitely cut it into fits.
Yeah.
And just rotate.
Worked really well.
That'd be really easy to do.
And we still have the students crossing across the stage
That's.
symbolically over to the community side. And I think Joel's organizing some community members, so that piece is.
Agreed to wear his Dr. Pop this year.
You know, there is
Absolutely.
a very quirky hat. They
We
give you
had a deal. There was a deal.
over the hat,
Okay.
if Dr. Van Rokel.
I was gonna say, yeah, somebody else has to wear there, so.
Heck, yeah. So you guys can decide and then we can hash out those details later, but you guys have any questions about any of the events that are going on for the week?
No, would it be caring if we made a decision now, so we're not holding up? You guys,
I don't even have anything to write with, so
okay.
I think he's good.
I think you guys
We
can.
will move forward logistically, planning, sharing it among the 5 members.
One thing I had heard from the community is some people had expressed a desire to have us bring back the filmed awards night. Rather than make everybody show up at the event. That was popular when we did it before.
So we're doing it both ways. We're gonna film them so people can still enjoy them from the comfort of their home, but we're
Okay.
going to do them in person as well.
Yeah.
What we have done that has increased efficiency is we've kind of offered to the donors, hey, if you want us to present your award for you, because some of the donors are up there in age or maybe not comfortable speaking in front of a big group. And so Mr. Kessie, myself, Mrs. Haddon, Sarai, we all offer to say, hey, we'll speak on your behalf. But some people also find it really important to share about whatever their scholarship is. So we kind of are doing both.
What I heard was the broadcast.
Yeah,
It's good for grandparents, parents that may
Correct.
be out of town.
yeah, that's happening. We're doing that. We're doing the YouTube link. So. Questions otherwise?
It's kind of pretty.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to 7.2.
Good evening. I have for you the 26-27 school year calendar. Couple of things to note. This calendar feels different because we start after Labor Day and Labor Day is late. We always start after Labor Day. It's consistent with other regional school districts. So we chose to go that pathway with this calendar. However, the big thing for me that I see it shifting is the graduation date. So graduation will be on the 11th of June, which is a big change for our families. So I'm going to make sure that we communicate it on Facebook, Parent Square, and we just keep reminding families really early of that change in the graduation date, because that people start planning for right now, you know, as they start thinking about their senior for next year. Another change you'll see is we moved a PD date from October. Typically, we have 2 PD days in October to April. That gives us 1 PD day per trimester. The intention of that one is to do some really comprehensive planning for the next school year. And then the other big highlight I'd say is that the trimesters are very balanced. So this year, the biggest difference between a trimester was a total of 12 days. That's a pretty big difference for a teacher planning their curriculum. This calendar proposed the maximum difference is only 4 days. So people are pretty happy with that. The calendar committee, I'd say, was very effective and efficient this year. Really appreciated everyone who served on that committee. So thank you for your time and your support. And I'll offer it up for any questions.
The calendar committee did not mess around.
We were there to get business done.
I would congratulate you in November. No school in November is no more.
We are in the building as much as possible. Mhm. Yeah, we really tried to prioritize any breaks in student learnings too. So another thing you'll see is, you know, trying to match it up with spring break, having that Friday grading day prior to spring break has worked really nicely. Some of those things are included in this calendar.
Thank you to the calendar people.
Kelsey and Eric, I believe.
Nice.
Yes.
I just watched the magic go down. It's just not add anything of value.
Mhm.
This is an action item, so we would need a motion.
Here I move to adopt the 26-27 calendar as recommended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt the calendar 26-27, and we have a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Kevin,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
and yes as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, 7.3, Pellview Community Charter School reintegration. Ms. Anna, back to you.
I have an update for you before we get to the action item. Just a update on how the project is going. Everything's progressing. I really expect in the next month for things to start really getting checked off the list and coming into fruition. There's a lot of preparation going into everything right now. HR has met with all the employees of Pellview to get information for onboarding. The finalization of onboarding is pending the MOU approval in the next agenda topic. Representatives from both of our associations, the Certified and Classified Associations, have attended staff meetings at Pellview to meet the employees and just kind of be a presence there. Joel and I have been attending monthly staff meetings to answer questions and get familiar with the staff. Central Oregonian published a story about the reintegrations. That's great. Ms. Tammy sent out an interdistrict transfer communication to families who live outside of our boundaries, but currently attend Pellview, public charter school. And almost all of those have been processed and complete. She's just working with a couple more families to get those done. And our project team is doing great working on tasks. And then one other note, our Pellview teachers are included in our new teacher orientation in August. Any questions on that project?
So for those out of district families, what's the response rate of it? For the most part?
Yes.
Should I move to the?
Yes, please.
7.3.1 is the MOU with OSEA for the Pellview reintegration. This is one combined MOU that addresses 2 topics. It, number 1, allows the Pellview employees to roll in their sick leave into their CCSD employment. And number 2, it allows an exception to the job posting requirement so that Pellview employees don't have to reapply for their current positions. This is presented for board approval.
Chairman, I move to approve the MOU related to Pellview reintegration.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to go ahead and approve the MOU with the Powview reintegration. We have a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, Scott,
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
and yes as well. Thank you for everything on this, Anna. It's a lot of. Thank you. Okay, 7.4 year, end of year surveys for you.
On your table, you're gonna find, this is a teacher trick. You're gonna find a blue and a green paper. Why don't you grab those, blue and green paper? And we're gonna start with green. So, let's make it easy. So the green, starting with our why, we've seen a steady decrease in our parent responses on our family surveys. And that's really important because we use family input as we're bringing principals back in August. We take that input, read it, and come up with an improvement plan. So it's actually a real problem that we're seeing a decline in parent responses. So we had this crazy idea. What if we actually asked families what would help them fill out the survey? So Bree and I met with our family steering committee last week, and we're gonna do a couple things to hopefully boost survey participation from our families. The first of which is we are adding the family survey. Usually we do it in June. We will have laptops and survey options ready when we have parent conferences here in the next couple weeks. Secondly, the parents had a lot of feedback on the actual survey. So they encourage us to move our open-ended questions to the front of the survey. They said, I don't know, like your brain's fresh at the start, so they can give more open-ended feedback at the front of the survey. We also adjusted the questions slightly. So as part of our communication committee, we've been talking about, or sorry, our Building Bridges committee, we've talked about communication. And so we're separating, we added a question of not just the school kept me informed about events going on of, hey, there's a dress up day, but also we want to get more drilling down into the school is keeping me informed about my students' academic progress. We've heard from a lot of parents like, hey, it's great we know about this assembly, but I really want to know how my student's doing with reading, writing. So we've separated that so we can get feedback there. We've also, we used to have questions embedded around like our operations, like, hey, how does your student like riding the bus? Or how's the food service? But we get feedback from families of, well, my student doesn't ride the bus. So we've grouped all those questions together. So that way it's really clear of like, if this is applicable to you. So we've added that, made that new section. And yeah, then just question at the end, if you'd like follow up students, or sorry, families can share their contact information, then we follow up with them. That's the family survey. Any questions on the revisions here?
Are you only distributing it at conferences or?
No,
Mailing it out?
great question. So it'll be at conferences and then we'll also post it through our normal channels, through Parent Square, social media. Yeah, great question. We just thought, particularly our elementary, we're credit to our elementary administrators, we're at like 97, 98 percentile families. So we're thinking we'd be able to capture a lot of those families. Next up, we also made some revisions to the end of year staff survey. We used AI to, I think there was 20 questions. We used AI to keep the same information, but consolidate the number of questions. So, and then there were 2 additional questions, number 9 and 10. We wanted more feedback on the actual training that staff members like. So we have an open-ended question, what training or support do you need to be more successful in your role? And then we've also, this is a board goal around recognizing our staff. And in conversations with various board members, we've realized for me, recognition is I love to get food. You bring me a Big Mac, we will be friends, I'll feel well appreciated. That apparently doesn't work for everyone. Some people want handwritten notes. Some people like to be called out at board meetings. So we're adding a question, what forms of recognition make you feel most valued? So that way we can actually recognize people in the ways that they'll feel recognized. So any questions on the staff survey? And that will go out at the end of June, mid-June.
Okay. And this is an action item as well. So we need a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the refined version of the end of year surveys as presented to be used in the spring.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the refined version of the end of year surveys, and a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Kevin,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
and yes as well. Thank you for all of that and the new opportunities for everybody. 7.5, long range facilities planning, back to Dr. Bob.
Our dear friend Leland is sick,
Mm.
so I will be covering 7.5 now. And I also encourage, we had two great board representatives, Jen and Kevin, as part of the long range facility committee. So feel free to chime in if I miss anything. So over the last 4 months, and this is your bound packet, actually, I'd say since November. We've been working with some architects on developing a long-range facilities plan. So if you've ever been a part of this process, so starting off with, what is this? It starts with what's called a facilities condition assessment. And that means there's a team of architects and engineers, as well as people who are experts in educational facilities, come together and they do a district-wide inspection. So they look at the life expectancy of our buildings and equipment. They look at the square footage, and then they also look at the condition of how are classrooms, how is our equipment? And then in addition, they what's called an educational adequacy survey, where they meet with educational staff like teachers and say, hey, what's the condition of your classroom? Is it conducive to teaching, or is it 115 degrees in June and it's really hard to teach? So they take all that information and they put together a summary. And in your packet, starting at the front, I'm going to have you turn to page 11 and it'll show you what they came.
Can I get one of those packets?
You know, I would love to get you one of those packets. Also, my
What are you gonna use?
I have memorized it. Don't you worry.
So as you'll see on page 11 of your packet, and it looks like Kelsey's being a good friend and sharing with you, Jen. So it ranks all of our facilities in 4 categories: good, fair, poor, or critical. So they take all this information and then that gives you a sense of where we're at with our facilities. If you've ever been to the maintenance facility, you'll understand what that critical rating means, or Ward Road. So they take a ton of different data, a ton of variables, and put together a ranking. And from there, they work with committees, stakeholders, and they put together a 10-year plan. And this doesn't necessarily mean, this is a common misconception, this doesn't mean that this is what we're doing in 10 years. They're just saying this would be a reasonable, common sense 10-year plan. And that's on page 23. So it goes through each of our facilities and it says, they say, well, do we need to repair this facility? And they give a cost estimate there. Or do they say, oh, we need new construction, we need to replace, and they give a cost estimate there. And then they come up with, here is what we recommend the district do over the next 10 years. So if you're wondering who they spoke with and who was a part of this process, you'll see here, I think it was 30 to 40 stakeholders representing various groups. We had governmental representation, we had coaches, staff, people that are involved with clubs. So we've got a very broad perspective of stakeholders that if you look at this list and it's in your board packet, we heard from a lot of different people and they helped give input on our facilities.
Students as well. That's
As well as
important.
students, yeah. Mr. Hayes had 3 middle school students come to one of the meetings and that was a lot of fun. So we met, the architects did their examination of the buildings in October and November. In December, we pulled this committee together of 30 people or so. We reviewed the needed repairs, as well as discussed people's own perspective of what they saw as building needs. In January, we met again. We reviewed enrollment projections, as well as we reviewed the costs of, well, what does a new middle school cost? And it's really high. It's a pretty high number. In February, we then had that committee of 25, 30 people. They partnered up and they said, well, what would be a potential proposal to bring forward that we could, that takes all these needs into place and propose a potential project to the board. And then in March, we took those 10 proposals and we narrowed it down to 3. With that, so why do we do this? If you've never been a part of a long-range facility process, this is helpful to evaluate the conditions of our current facilities and develop a proactive plan. But more importantly, this is part of the ODE where, if the board adopts a long-range facilities plan, it also positions the district to receive $10 million in matching funds if the district were to pass a bond. So it really is, there's a real technical side to this. The board could do a couple things tonight, because our expert Leland is not here to answer. I was, if someone's wondering what the square footage of the high school is, Leland has that memorized. I do not. So the board could approve the long-range facilities plan tonight, no problem. Or another option is we could compile any questions that the board has about this plan and come back in May when Leland's here to answer those questions. So totally up to the board. Either way, we're in good shape.
I guess my first pass on this too is just incorporating like if and when we are gonna go for a bond, because to me, that would be a pretty significant piece of the puzzle.
And the next agenda item, we did two things at the same time with this committee, because we had, I think, 35 great voices from our community. So, project one was to do the long-range facilities plan.
Okay.
And the agenda item after this was we said, hey, while we have these people, let's start talking about what makes sense for a potential future bond and put together some proposals and next steps. So that's what I'll present on after this, agenda item.
It's like a separate.
I appreciate it.
I see the suggestion for the new middle school, which is great. One of my concerns that I've had is capacity of both the middle school and the high school. Where are we at as far as the high school? If we've got a new middle school proposed, I'm guessing we get built whenever we want, if we get the bond passed. But high school with the apartments going up, Powellview expanding like crazy and being reintegrated. What are we looking at for the high school with that?
Yeah, that's one thing interesting, and we've talked about capacity and what that means, and one of my learnings is, so we have this, I don't know if it's the fire marshal, here's what the fire marshal says the building capacity is, and then there's also this idea of, hey, when I talk to Mr. Huffman, here's the actual capacity of when the middle school or when the high school feels really crowded, right? So the high school feels really crowded. When it first opened, it had around 1,100 students in it.
Yeah.
So it can run at 1,100, but that is not a comfortable school, right? So right now we're low 800s. So we have some cushion there. We also have Pioneer and Grizzly Mountain Home Week polling students, giving other options as well. But it is something we want to keep our eyes on. I think the middle school is probably more likely to say, hey, we are running out of space here. At 700, the middle school feels really crowded, and it's at kind of low to mid sixes. So we're close to being pretty full in the school.
I didn't realize we had 1,100 students when we opened the high school.
What's that?
I didn't realize we had 1,100 students when we opened the high school.
Approached
The new one.
1,200 before we
Yeah, when they got there, it was 6 days.
did the AB lunch thing. It was awful.
Teachers were teaching on cards, sharing classroom.
Oh, jeez.
I think that was prior to Pioneer. So Pioneer polls about
Right.
100 or so, plus online,
Yeah.
that polls as well.
Pioneer was a small
Yeah.
shack.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. So this, I think it's around 100 pages, is a lot to digest. So it's more than we're easily more time to digest, take a look at it, save some questions, and we can come back on one.
I'd like a chance to at least read it before we adopt it.
We're gonna make sure you leave with a copy
I
as
have a
well.
copy.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think we need an action item to move on. All right, we'll bring that back to the board in May. And then Kelsey, as you set me up perfectly, in addition with this committee, we talked about, what are some potential bond plans? While we have all these stakeholders here, So, we had three different proposals, but critical major repairs was the foundation of all three repairs. So roofing at, Crooked River, the middle school and Steens Pillar was in every proposal. Boiler upgrades at Crooked River, the middle school, Steens Pillar and Powell Butte, as well as HVAC upgrades, air conditioning, as it gets hotter in the fall, and it seems like in June, that definitely is a reality that it is hard to teach students when it's literally 92 degrees on the backside of Crooked River. And then finally, we have some asphalt replacement. So these are things that every group said, we have to fix these. And then each group also, in addition to that, came up with their own proposals. So we had one proposal about repair the middle school, some elementary expansion, Powell Butte improvements. We talked about CTE expansion at the high school, as well as some athletic improvements, field lighting, indoor gym space, new stadium. The next group said a complete new middle school, right? And one thing to note, if they built a new middle school, then the repairs, obviously, those would go away. So they
Where
said
would the middle school even go?
that is up in the air. So potentially new middle school, Powell Butte improvements, as you saw on the facilities assessment, the stadium was in that critical range, safety upgrades, and then they also included some CT expansion. And then finally, we had a third group. They proposed remodel the middle school, elementary school expansion, Powell Butte improvements, some high school athletic gyms. We talked a lot about gym space, and some wrestling space, a new stadium, an expansion of the high school, CT expansion, as well as land for growth. In our very last meeting with the committee, we said, hey, this all sounds great, but we know that these would require a bond and people to vote. So we said, well, great ideas. How likely are you to vote to this? How likely are your friends and people you know to vote for this? And we ranked it out of 5 stars. So proposal A got 3.5 stars, likelihood that friends and family would vote for it. Proposal C got 3.2 out of 5 stars. And proposal C got 4.3 stars out of 5. But here's what we came up with, because we said we're going to take all 3 of these proposals to the board, but we know that there's more work. I think, Kelsey, it goes to your question. Well, where would this go? How much would it cost? So instead of saying, hey, board, why don't you choose a proposal and we go forward with it? What we're recommending is that the board direct the superintendent to form a superintendent committee to keep this conversation going. So a committee of interested community members, students, and staff to further research and refine potential bond measures. The tasks of the committee would be to continue to gather stakeholder input. We know we need some performing arts upgrades as well. We know we want to hear from our Juniper Canyon people. So part of the task would be continuing to get information. We want to refine those 3 existing proposals and get a cohesive proposal with very accurate cost estimates so that we know what this actually would cost. We also want to collaborate. There are these political scientists that say, hey, here's the right time to go out for the bond, and here's the wrong time to go out for the bond. So we want to gather more information around that. We want to expand, like you said, expand outreach. We really want the community to be involved in this, so that we're not just plopping something in their lap and saying, hey, we hope you vote for that. And then finally, we want to bring back a recommendation to the board in July or August. So that's our recommendation, is to continue to unpack these with groups of interested community members.
Yeah, I think Joel too. And not to live in the past at all, but having a political science person to do like a postmortem on why the previous board or bond didn't pass, because it's like, I think there really is genuine support in the community for this, but it needs to be done the right way. And I just think, yeah, I'm always gonna go back to the numbers, like just being very strategic and intentional about how we do this to ensure that we're kind of not in the same spot. And there is seriously critical things that need to be taken care of. This bond is needed. And so I just, I think the investment on the front end of doing some research is well worth kind of the time, saving people time and kind of spinning around different opinions. In the long run.
There's also the timing to get the ODE dollars, correct? When is that?
I believe, and we'll make sure we confirm this, I believe once we adopt this week, it's good for 5 years to get those matching funds.
So are you leaning toward a particular time frame for a bond, November or May?
No, I think we really gotta talk to the experts to say they study this stuff for their jobs. So I think leaning on their expertise of when that makes sense over the next 3-year period. Really listening to someone who does this for their job.
Yeah, I'm all for listening to experts and leaning into getting your best shot. But the last bond, 10 days before we went to the polls, the Ukraine, Russia declared war on Ukraine and gas prices went. And the bond would. And those were directly linked. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just not in control.
Yeah.
But what was the voting demographics on it too? Like,
Well, it was all 60+% over 55.
see,
I think it was 78% over 70. So yeah, it's our older.
that's to me like so problematic and I'm in the demographic. It's just like, we have to have our families go to the polls, like the people who would have been impacted positively, their kids, they didn't show up.
If I had $1 for every time I've heard a politician say we're gonna get young people out for my campaign, I'd be Elon Musk.
I do think some extended time to really get a good plan in place, really good cost estimates, and then also really good communication is key to get not only our families, but everyone kind of behind this effort.
I don't know, I guess personally, I think unless this is student led, like to me, that's the key. Like it needs to be led by the students who say, I don't want to go to school where the roof is falling in. Like, and grandparents have a tough time saying no to that.
We are grateful. We have had, as we go and talk to our leadership group once a month, they're interested in helping out. So we will definitely incorporate student voice in action.
I would slightly disagree with you, Kelsey. I think the message is a safe school, a quality school is a safe school, and a safe school is a safe community. And if you can sell the security message to your older voters, that's what brings them in. We've seen that time after time. And there is a way to shape that message. It's not one we're very good at. We probably need outside help on that. But it is the ultimate message that resonates with our senior community. It's why jails pass and schools fail.
Well, and if we look at the contrast between the cost for repairs versus the cost for new, the cost for repairs are quite significant. So do you want to repair and hope that lasts 20 years? Where new might last you 50 years? We've done the repair thing a lot.
Yep.
And we're gonna keep dumping money into repairs. And it'll be an ongoing issue. So I think we should be real clear about what are the costs to repair everything.
Yeah, it's a total cost of ownership conversation.
So do you want a motion to appoint your committee?
Yeah.
I move that the board direct the superintendent to form a superintendent committee of interested community members, students, and staff to further research and refine a potential future bond measure.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion for, to direct the interim superintendent to form a superintendent committee of interested community members, students, and staff to further research and refine a potential future bond measure. And we have a second. Do we have further discussion? Okay, let's vote. Scott?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
And yes as well. Thank you for all of your help on this. I think the more community we have involved, the better off we're going to be. students and everyone. Okay. Moving on to 7.6. Hello again.
Hello. Good evening again. All right, so in front of you, you should have your board goals dashboard. And today, last time, if you remember, we did a walk through the dashboard. Tonight, we're gonna pick the pace up to a jog, and we're gonna start at the end and go to the beginning. I ran one marathon in my life and it was wonderful. I loved it. But some of the best advice that I got was chunk it into threes and just focus on your steady pace throughout. So we're going to do that. I've got my watch going to keep track of our time because I want to try to keep this within 30 minutes and I believe I can do that. So I've tried to really highlight what we've got here. So you'll see on the screens that I've highlighted the boxes that have been updated. So there's a blue box around them. And so we'll jump into green first. So here you've got an update on students served with FAN. We've got over 600 students served so far this year. That's on track to exceed, I think, what we served last year. So I think that's great. And then I categorized out what those services are, the categories, the most common categories. Those are provided there. In addition, I wanted to note that for AP exams and dual credit costs at the high school, we make sure that students that are identified for free and reduced lunch or the free and reduced lunch program previously are covered for that. So I pulled the numbers, and for our AP tests that have been ordered this year, 43% of those AP tests that were ordered, students aren't charged a fee for. There's fee waivers in place. So that gives you a glimpse into what that volume looks like. Moving over to the CC Connect, 88% of CCHS students are engaged. We're really proud of that number. 76 at the middle school, although I will note that these numbers were being pulled right around the time of enrollment in spring athletics at the middle school, and we've got well over 100 students in the soccer program, and I want to say close to 150 in track. So those numbers are huge, and I think we're still, finding some students that are involved in dance and things like that, adding to that number. So I expect that to go up before the end of the year as well. In the next box, a few things to highlight. I'm not going to read all the bullet points, but under SPED protocols, 2 listening sessions took place in the last month, led by Dr. Hoff, and over 20 attendees were at each of those, I believe. And a comprehensive collaborative plan has been developed. It's color coordinated and numerous pages of really great action items that are currently underway. So we're really excited about that. Moving over into the kindness and CC Way campaigns, I want to highlight the middle school. They had a guest speaker last month, and it was incredible. It was the day before spring break for these students, and I have never seen a bunch of middle schoolers so engaged. They were just resilience mostly. So it was Casey McAllister. He's a wrestler and athlete that unfortunately lost his legs in an accident, but persevered throughout his life. So he had a really encouraging message that I think really inspired our students. And then just to highlight, one of the things happening at our mini schools, Barnes Butte Elementary, Nick Gilbertson has done a tremendous job of working with the leadership students there. They're working on a buddy class program, peer shout outs and kindness boxes. They're doing some really great work for each other there. Over to the buses, you see a rider on that bus. Mr. Cooper joined us for Ride the Bus Month. And that is him on our dashboard, yes. So Ride the Bus Month, I know that I was really inspired by it. Our bus drivers do so much for our students. The bus that I rode on, she was mentioning how, she gets prizes on Fridays for the kids. Students help clean the bus, all sorts of great things happening on our buses. And we're proud of the work being done there this year. And then Joel just gave you an update on facilities. And most of the stuff at the bottom has all remained the same. So now we can move on to questions on the green page. Okay,
Keep jogging.
Okay, we're still jogging. Perfect. Moving on to blue. And we're pace is going strong here, friends. Okay, so on blue, last time we looked at this, we had a lot of text on the feedback, which the schools have done such a great job of collecting feedback from students. And students are collecting feedback from students as well. Like at the middle school, we have students doing listening sessions with other students. I think that's so just incredible because they're going to tell the truth to their peers, and they're still highlighting things like our favorite class is science. And for a middle schooler to say their favorite class is a core content class is huge. But typically the feedback falls into these three categories. So they really value hands-on learning and career-ready learning. And then all students really want to be cultivating a culture of kindness. The high school students talk a lot about, increasing assemblies and doing things like that. And then students overwhelmingly report and shout out to our teachers, to our IAs, to our secretaries, the hardworking people in our buildings, saying that they feel support and connection through the staff in their buildings. Tried to highlight a few things coming up in communications. So Parent View, we are going to extend that down to 5th grade starting next year. For those of you who don't know what Parent View are, because you're an elementary person, that's where you can just go in and check your students' grades. So we're actively working on that, getting to that point of accessing information on academics in the early grades. Working on building a student code of conduct, which you heard students have reviewed, families have reviewed, and we'll be presenting that in an upcoming board meeting. And then I thought it'd be worth noting on here that over 400 families engaged in that collection of voice for the superintendent appointment. That was a pretty major communication outreach that we did this year as well. Staff steering committees and listening sessions. These have kind of evolved throughout the year, I think, to be more siloed into specific topics like the SPED listening sessions. Joel and I will also be going around to every staff meeting in the coming months. And in those staff meetings, we'll ask, how's the year been? What improvements can we make? And one of the things we were talking about just recently was how can we ask, we want to ask staff about students in the yellow zone. How can we help them? Students in the red zone. How can we help them? What are you needing? What are students needing? And trying to get to the root of that, because we love a good action plan. Family Steering Committee met just last week. It is one of my favorite groups of people to get together with. We get some really great feedback from them. The Building Bridges Committee, we had talked about a 5K recently. We're going to scale that back to joining in the jogathons or fun runs at each of the elementary schools and having a table there to be able to meet with families.
We have to give a shout out. It was going to be called the District Dash,
The
right?
District Dash. Yes, the District Dash, it's not off the table, but it's tabled for later. I can say that with confidence. And so instead we will have the Fun Zone Recovery Zone with orange slices in a cup. Mr. Bradley, you've supported us in that regard before.
I'm sorry.
And water for students, as well as just shout out cards. That's been a big hit at our events when kids can write a shout out to their favorite teacher, and opportunities to connect with a QR code for groups and things like that. Moving down, the key community partners was updated to key community events. I'll speak for Joel on this because I think it's true. This has been one of our favorite things this year, has been getting out in the community, going to events, getting to see families outside of the school has been really great. So a handful of those things that we've done are highlighted there. And then the last thing you'll see that was updated here is we talked when we met about this before about secondary conferences and how we wanted to shift that model a bit. So the last PD day, which was on February 13th, we took the opportunity to say, hey, let's see how many phone calls we can make. And I know that Marcus and Jake put it out to their staffs to kind of make a challenge out of it. And we made over 430 phone calls. And we received a lot of positive feedback from families. In fact, when we met with the Family Steering Committee just last week, they were still saying, boy, that was so great. About a month ago, I got a positive call, or I got, and so people were really encouraged by that. And then I also want
Staff think about that.
Staff, I think, enjoyed it. I mean, they could speak for it, but I think anytime you're given time to say, let's just accomplish this, I know I always appreciate it as a teacher. When you make the calls, you say, these are the strategic grade ones I'm going to make, and then these are the shout outs I'm going to make. That always makes you feel good when you can connect with a family. The other thing I want to point to here is that we've done 6 FAFSA scholarship nights at the high school level, and we offer each of those events in English and in Spanish. So families really do appreciate that. Questions on building bridges?
It's funny, Dr. Hop and I were having a conversation today about just the power of picking up the phone and like how there's just so many things get solved and seeing through a conversation. So I really respect that. People
Yeah,
really do
I want
that.
to emphasize that, and we hear that from families of parent phone calls, here's how your kid's doing. We love them, they're doing great. That goes over so much to these families that are hearing. So that's a communication we'll really target next year, is that personal phone call, each and every kid makes a big, big difference.
I have a question for you on the metrics for conference attendance, because we've already discussed how that may not be the best metric for engagement with students and parents. Is there a way that we can get, say like your parent view or your student view login, say how many times has this student logged in the last week, how many in the last 6 months for students or parents, and put that data on there, just so we know they are checking in.
Eric Ryan is nodding his head. He'd be the one that could answer that question.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we can present that next time. Other questions on building bridges?
How was our open gym, for the Hispanic community going? Was it well
The
attended?
soccer night at Barnes Butte. Dr.
The
Hoff
best.
is a regular attender.
Yes, yeah, we typically have 30 to 40, it was open to all students, but, yeah, we typically would have 30 to 40 students there and families, it just went from winter break to spring break, but they have asked us to, we did it 1 day a week, they said, hey, let's do it next year, and let's do it 3 nights a week, and go all year. So we're figuring that out, but it was received.
Can I just speak to that? What was it last week? It was like, we were over at Barnes Butte. And every classroom we went into, like all the little Latina kids, they're like, there's like it was like a little.
I didn't play a ton of soccer, but I made some friends.
Yeah, it was really cute. It was really fun to like go into the classrooms and be like, oh, like they recognize him and there's good rapport there and like a good adult trust. And
Nick Gilbertson, him and I alternated every week, but that was a lot of fun.
Right. Our pace is faster than I expected. We're moving on to yellow already. And we'll start with the elementary side. I think I see you all on that, okay? So your iReady scores have been updated. This reflects the winter benchmark. So again, we would still expect to see students in the yellow zone here. They should reach grade level by the end of the year. You can see some growth throughout. Moving on.
is there this iReady like thing just drives me crazy? Is there any way to set it so it like measures true to like where the student should be in the year?
I'd have to do some looking into that.
Okay, if not, no big deal, but it just like, I mean, you look at this data and it's, okay, like, they're yellow, but like. I don't know.
Yes, I
like-
understand what you're saying.
Like, is that meaningful? It takes away a lot of the power of the data when it's not measuring true to like.
Where they should be.
Yeah.
We can definitely ask. It is one of those major national software companies, so if we're asking, we can't be the only. So
Yeah, we can definitely reach out about that.
Bree, how can kindergarten be at 0%?
Oh, that's a red zone. Red zone is 0% because it's 2 or more grade levels below and it doesn't go to, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Yes.
and I think sorry.
Well, how do you get to a number at all in first grade then?
It gives them a rating of 2 or more grade levels below in first grade, but that is an interesting reason. Yeah.
Questions? Yeah, I don't know.
Because you wouldn't meet the kindergarten standard?
But
Yeah.
it can't be 2 grade levels below when you've only been in school 1 year. I don't know, I just.
Yeah.
What we do know is those students that
Yeah.
are red definitely need additional support. So.
Yes.
Like the other thing is, I'm sorry, we're slowing down to a walk.
No,
I
you're
know
okay.
We can sprint, catch up, but
Mhm.
like okay, so I looked at this and let's say there's 43% in the yellow, like. I mean, are we like, how bad is that? You know, like, I mean, are we like, okay, with a little bit of intervention, we're gonna be green, like 43, it's just.
So yellow typically means 1 grade level behind midway through the year. So you can say, and again, we use multiple measures, so we don't just take the hierarchy, but we take teacher judgment, they're taking unit assessment, so if you're yellow here, green in another assessment, you're probably fine.
Sure.
If you're yellow and then, red or below grade level, then, so again, it's multi-measures to put students in the title reading intervention, tier 2 math intervention, so this is just one measure.
Actually, she showed them to me last week and I have not stopped thinking about them. I think you've gotten 4 follow-up emails.
Ready for it.
Yeah, our elementary teams, I think they do data dives and they look at all the multiple metrics and work as a team to discuss each individual student in a way that's really powerful. The writing assessment, last time you all asked about rubrics, so I have some clarity on that and also some explaining here. K2 uses wit and wisdom, and then 3-5 is using the state scoring rubric. Now you see you're like, why aren't these growing significantly with each one? They're writing on different modes for the different data collection. So actually I pulled previous dashboards on this because I was so confused, and then I got that answer that this is what it has been in the past. I think something that we really want to focus on next year though is more writing. Yeah, and writing improvements, because we want to see those numbers much higher.
The 4th grade had a hard time.
Yes, that's
Yeah, that's what Phil and I were talking about the other day. It's like between 4th and 5th grade, it just seems like there's. I don't know if the hormones start kicking in or what.
And there's some, I mean, you can see K2 using wit and wisdom. The rubric alignment, there's some questions there. The data is pointing to some questions there that we want to dig deeper into.
So when you're using the state scoring rubric, is that being done internally or by a third party?
Internally.
So it might have some bias to it. What's our integrated reliability?
Yeah, that's a question we're wanting to work towards having better results on.
Yeah, writing as we've kind of started pulling data from the schools this year, kind of, I wouldn't say a red flag, but there's been some confusion and there's a clear need for K-12 alignment in writing practices. What are we calling a work sample? What's an essay? So that's a targeted area for next year. We need some kind of oversight of what we're doing around writing. And I think it also speaks to your question around integrated reliability, that there were years, and I'm not saying this is what new, where teachers would shift, one teacher grades another teacher's student essays, so, and black out the names, so that way there is more integrated reliability. But I think even more part of that writing improvement plan will be training around using these rubrics. It seems like writing is kind of, as some things do, faded to the background, and it's something we need to elevate again heading into next year.
My observation in writing is that if you look at our students' writing, their content's pretty strong. They're actually pretty creative and pretty thoughtful. Where they fall apart is grammar, punctuation, and conventions. And that's what they get judged on by the community, unfortunately. Yeah, it's obvious.
And I hate to say it, but if you remember, I want to say 2 months ago, when we listened to the high school students, somehow a high school leadership class, they said, we need to learn more about conventions.
Yes, they did.
My bingo card for what students are asking. So there definitely is, it's not going away. So that's something.
Well, especially the college bound students who said we can't compete on the exam. The assessments are getting in.
Well, it impacts your ability to learn a second language too, if you don't understand grammar.
All right, moving forward to expanded opportunities. The K-5 clubs, these operate at caps, so the numbers are, pretty designated. This is what we're able to do. We did add a tutoring club at each school, so students are able to get some extra support after school academically. We think that's a really great intervention to have. And then as a request of last time, we talked to Parks and Rec, and they gave us some data on how many students are engaged. They said that fall and winter sports numbers was just over 900 students. That does combine, so we've got repeat athletes there. But when we consider we've got, nearly 1,300 elementary students, we believe that a good 3/4 of them perhaps are being served with Parks and Rec. So that's exciting. TAG, Amber McLeod has done a tremendous job of updating our forms and going through each individual tag plan to ensure everything is accurate. And then beyond that, training teachers and coaches on some extra tools for extension activities for these students. So that's exciting. And then the bottom category here, we really revamped this. And this is a yellow stoplight for sure, is that grade level or the academic tracking system that we still think iReady is a really good measure to look at our zones. So this gives you another look at iReady with the winter benchmark and fall benchmark compared for all students grouped into one graph. That's what you see there. And then the numbers on projections for current regular attender rates for both K2 and 3-5 have been updated. Questions?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I'd like to call out is I've just seen such good improvement around. I love these like student-led kindness or even the tutoring or the reading, and I just love seeing that. And so thanks for the work. And also, you know, what we're at Barnesview, and Nick was talking about, you know, the teachers going up a level and down a level. And so, you know, even though we have a ways to go, you know, I am seeing a lot of progress in that. Just want to call that out.
Thank you.
I just want to call out that tiny little print under the 77% of the bottom right. The Oregon K-12 average for attendance is 67% and our regular attendance is 77%. And that happens because kids want to go to school, because you have a culture you've created where they want to be there. So go staff. That's a significant difference.
Yeah, and if you're feeling down in the morning, just show up at Crooked River Elementary. There's like a dance party. Like drop your kids off. I can do anything after like.
Hey, and secondary, if you show up for secondaries, I mean, you've got people greeting you at the front door and excited to be there too, even though kids are maybe walking in a little tired with their coffees.
Yeah, I think that's a board goal.
All right, so a few things have been updated on this page as well. First, the Crook County Middle School percent passing by each subject is listed there. Those numbers are updated. The ASVAB, so we reported last time on the overall score and how related to military, different branches of the military, with really positive data for the district. This time we looked at some of the academic components, the details that it gave us there, so you can see some highlights. By the end of the year, we will have tested all 11th graders. This just includes 10th graders currently. And then the writing assessments, again, this is something that we really want to focus on next year. We see that the middle school and the high school are clearly doing things differently. The high school is using their end of term writing assessment, so you would expect that to be high, multiple revisions. The middle school is doing more a snapshot in time with less revisions, showing more significant growth. So that we want to align much, much better next year, 6 through 12. Moving forward to pathways, meetings with students are underway, collecting data on the pathways students are most interested in. So you can see those categories listed out by popularity. A big update here is our certifications for this year, 294 certifications. So shout out to our CTE teachers at the high school. That number I think is really tremendous. The key categories that those certifications are in is business and marketing, construction, particularly the blueprint certification, and then health occupations has a number of certifications. I believe our health occ teacher at the high school is able to give CPR certifications in-house, which is a really big deal for our students. The post-secondary plans that you'll see there in that pie chart, that reflects our current seniors. So that data is coming in. It's exciting to watch. Knowing seniors, some of them might change their mind before the end of the year, and you'll have a fresh new pie chart when we meet in July that will be more solid. Lastly, in the bottom left-hand corner, that 95% of students, all high school students in the district, are on track. I think it's really smart for us to watch this number. A lot of school districts look just at 9th grade on track. We look at all of our high school students on track, and to have our whole district be 95% is something I feel really good about. And then over here, you see the academic zones. So this is something that's pretty heavily researched when it comes to success indicators for particularly sixth graders and ninth graders, those key grade level transitions, that when their attendance, behavior, and course performance is tracked and managed, that you see them be much more successful. So I did double check these numbers because I thought it was really crazy that both the middle school and the high school had 57% in the green zone. And it was true. And then you see the yellow zone and red zone. Again, the high school number is incorporating all of our schools in the district, all of our secondary high school options. I think one of the key drivers for this leading to the yellows and reds is attendance. We've got some kids that are miss a lot of school. And that will throw that automatically into the yellow or red if they are missing more than 10% of the school year. And that's it for yellow. So some of the big things in the academic area that we're working on aligning for this year and now is really a lot of planning for next year is aligning our writing, aligning our math improvement, writing improvement plans are at the front of mind for me. Targeting some improvements for K2 attendance. It's a little concerning to see that number lower than 3.5. And then ASVAB testing, 10th and 11th graders, you'll get that update by the end of the year. And then just continuing that support for the CTE and hands-on learning. We hear that from students. We see it, the importance of it in our data and reflecting over into jobs when kids graduate. So that's the update I have for you all.
It's amazing.
Can we go back to the first page?
Yep.
I just kind of called one number to the board's attention, because I spent a lot of time talking to Joel and Bree about it in the last month. When I had the opportunity to go tour the special ed classes, I pointed out that we have a lot of boys in those classes. And if you look at that little number on the front, on the left-hand side in the middle, it says 13% of our students receive SPED services. Well, that's about normal. But then it says 62% of them are boys and 38% are girls. So unless you believe there's some fundamental difference that makes boys less able to learn than girls, which I don't believe, then that number, it suggests, might be a little off. And if you dig into the research, it suggests that we've been over-diagnosing boys with ADHD or under-diagnosing girls and automatically throwing them into special ed categories when they might just need a little help and a little more attention. Several years ago, we did a study in this district before even I joined the board. So it was like in the revolutionary.
Several simple.
And, you know, we were able to draw our SPED numbers down and not have to provide expensive services simply by looking at kids who were slightly under the bubble and had gotten a SPED designation, but all they needed was a little extra support and some tutoring, and they were able to come back up to performing. We were able to remove that designation. I think these numbers tell us we need to do another examination of our SPED population and maybe redefine what is SPED and what is just kids who need help. Or maybe it's just misdiagnosis. Because ADHD diagnosis does not mean you're SPED. It may mean in some cases, but not every case.
If I remember correctly, we looked at this aligns with the national trend of boys gender differences, so.
It's a recognized problem in the literature, but yeah, we have a 97% graduation rate. That's also a recognized national problem, but not our problem.
Yeah. I really appreciate that board goal around the gender differences, because I think as I've looked at data this year and you've encouraged this to say, oh, let's go back to it and see what's the boy girl difference? What's the boy girl? That reminder of that question kind of getting ingrained into our system has been really strong, and I'm excited to see where it continues to go. So our next steps are finish the school year strong. We're in the home stretch, and it's an exciting time to be looking forward to next year and adapting changes for next year. I'll report back to the board on all these goals in July, and we will then continue planning goals. And we finished in under 30 minutes. So your guys' jogging pace is good. 29 minutes. That's where I'll stop it at. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot. But it was amazing. Okay, 8.0 school boards for 8.1 superintendent employment contract. Mr. Cooper.
So we have been working on negotiating a contract with the superintendent, and I think we've concluded we need more surveys, more listening sessions. Okay. It was a fairly straightforward negotiation. We started with Dr. Skinner's contract that was negotiated in July or in June, actually, of 2024. We began with that number and then we inflated it 3%. Because costs, you might have noticed, have gone up a bit since 2024. So that was our inflationary adjustment. So he is exactly at the 3% over number at 217,742. Dr. Skinner had been receiving a fairly substantial expense account. Joel has given up that expense account, which was supposed to cover things like car and phone and God knows what. And that is all now put in his retirement instead of going into his expense account. He didn't really need an expense account. So and then the last thing is there's a clause in the contract which automatically renews the contract for one additional year. It's a 3-year rolling contract. So he gets one additional year each year unless we give him notice that we don't want to renew it, which we would do now in conjunction with the March review that we do with all teachers. So we just do that at the same time. And then if you want to say sayonara, you can say sayonara, and then he's got a year to go away. So it's a very, very straightforward contract, and it's very tied to what we have traditionally done. I think he's in, really good shape to lead us, and considering where we were before he came on versus where we are now, it seems to me like he is worth at least what we were paying before. So that's what we're recommending.
I would like to make a motion. Board to adopt the superintendent employment contract between Dr. Joel Hop and the Crook County School District Board as presented. Okay, we have a motion to approve the superintendent employment contract between Dr. Joel Hop and the Crook County School District Board as presented, and a second. Do we have further discussion? We're gonna vote. Kevin?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
And yes as well.
Wait, give me a picture.
Love that.
The tables have turned.
The tables have turned.
That means I get to take a picture of you guys.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. All right, on to me. Upcoming dates. We have the Academic Excellence Opportunities and Support Committee meeting April 15th, 4 o'clock at the district office. No school staff development day conferences, April 23rd. No school conferences, April 24th. Budget committee meeting, April 28th, 6:30 PM at the district office. Budget committee meeting, May 5th, 6:30 PM at the district office. Meadows Scholarship Committee meeting, May 8th, 4 o'clock at the district office. School board meeting, May 11th, 6:30 at the district office. Building Bridges Committee meeting, May 21st, 4 PM at the district office. And no school Memorial Day, May 25th. 10.0 public comments. If you wish to make a public comment, please complete and submit the public comment card to the executive assistant to the superintendent and school board by the time the agenda is approved. If you're viewing online, please indicate that you would like to speak in the comment section. When you are recognized, please state your name and any group you're representing. Keep your comments to no more than 4 minutes. A group of visitors with a common purpose should designate a spokesperson for the group. If you wish to request that a board consider an agenda item, please contact the superintendent at least 1 week prior to the next board meeting. Per policy BDDH, the board will not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. If you have a complaint about a specific staff member, please contact the superintendent or the board chair. At this time, Ms. Tammy, do we have any public comment? We do not. Eric, do we have anybody online?
We not.
We do not. So at this time, we are going to.
One
adjourn.
quick thing, I'm sorry. I got to attend the DARE ceremony last week, and so a shout out to all of the resource officers, the principals. It was fantastic. It was a packed house, and the kids went crazy wild. They enjoyed there was a real nice video of all the classroom activities. So, and especially to Officer Kaufman. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay. No further ado. 8:27. We're adjourning this meeting.